Hello there, and welcome back to another Star Wars series review. Now, I've only done one other video like this, and you guys seem to really like it.
Oh, brother, this guy stinks!
So I decided to go ahead and make another one, this time on the Obi-Wan Kenobi series. I was considering making a video for each episode as it came out, but I decided to wait until the entire series released to give my thoughts on the show as a whole, instead of just doing weekly breakdowns. And now that the show has been out for a few weeks, I've had time to digest and to gather my thoughts. And honestly, it was okay. Probably more on the disappointing side in my opinion. But before we get into my thoughts, I want you guys to check out this online gaming store called Good Old Games. GOG has tons of great games at even better prices. Whether you're into indie games, RPGs, or strategy games, Good Old Games has something for you, including a ton of awesome old Star Wars games. Classics like Republic Commando, Battlefront 2, and LEGO Star Wars. So use the link in the description down below to get yourself some good old games and help support the channel. So the main reason why I think this show is just okay and honestly really unnecessary is how heavily it leans on the relationship between Obi-Wan Kenobi and Darth Vader. The thing for me is we know these characters very well, and in my opinion there's not much you can really add that will drastically change how we view the relationship. We see the full story from the moment they meet, the years they spend together training and fighting side by side during the Clone Wars and becoming brothers. We see Anakin's downfall and how Obi-Wan has to deal with it, all the way up to when the both of them die, so we know how their story begins and ends. Do we really need an entire show to explain why these two are enemies or why they have history? I don't think so. Even the idea of them having a duel in between Revenge of the Sith and A New Hope just doesn't make sense to me. It's like they based this entire show off of a couple quotes from the original trilogy.
A young Jedi named Darth Vader, who was a pupil of mine until he turned to evil. He betrayed and murdered your father.
The circle is now complete. When I left you, I was but the learner. Now I am the master.
Only a master of evil, Darth. He's more machine now than man, twisted and evil.
But the thing is, these quotes already made sense without this show, and it just feels unnecessary. Not to mention, it feels kind of out of character for Obi-Wan to confront Vader like this. Why would he put himself at such risk when he knows he has to protect Luke? It's almost like Obi-Wan cares more about this personal vendetta he has against Anakin than he does about protecting Luke and Leia, and this underground group. Overall, I feel like this show leaves them in the same place they were at the end of the Revenge of the Sith. Obi-Wan has to confront Anakin. He realizes Anakin is gone and it's only Darth Vader. He leaves Vader for dead. And has a newfound purpose to protect Luke and to train with Qui-Gon. You see the similarities here? I think this show should have had a lot more of Obi-Wan training with Qui-Gon and him kind of avoiding Vader at all costs instead of rushing towards him. And it would just be so much cooler if there were these high tension moments of him almost being caught but never does, and ends up saving the day and protecting the people like a true Jedi. But while we're talking about Obi-Wan, let's talk about the other half of the show, which is a sort of escort journey with Obi-Wan protecting little Leia. And I actually really like this part of the show. I think this is where we get more insight on where Obi-Wan is mentally after Revenge of the Sith. After all, the show is called Obi-Wan Kenobi. He starts off very grumpy and scared really to help anyone, in fear of messing everything up, but throughout the show we see him slowly reconnect with the Force and that noble Jedi side of him. We see him start helping people who are in need, and this stuff is great, seeing him come back to the Obi-Wan Kenobi that we all know and love. Ewan McGregor is absolutely amazing, and seeing Obi-Wan be a leader again just made me smile, and is without a doubt the greatest part of the show. And I think having him protect Leia was a great way for him to sort of face the past, as seeing Leia is kind of a constant reminder about Padme and Anakin and the relationship they all had together. And Leia ends up helping him remember the good times and the better part of Anakin. And by the end of the show even admits to her that she's a lot like her mother and her father in the best ways. And this is without a doubt the heart of the show, and seeing Obi-Wan learn this lesson that what happened in the past is the past and there's still good moving forward. Now moving on to some things that really aren't the heart of the show, we have these side characters. and specifically the third sister. Now, this is a controversial subject for some reason, but I just want to say that the massive hate towards the character and the actress is downright shameful. Maybe one day all these fake Star Wars fans will stop harassing actors because they didn't like a character or something that happened in the movie or show. With all that out of the way though, the third sister still really doesn't work for me as a character, and it's really just for one reason. Her whole character arc was so predictable. From the very opening of the show, we see a youngling who looks exactly like Reeva survive Order 66. And she has some strange obsession with Kenobi, and she knows that Anakin is Darth Vader. I wonder if the reason she's obsessed with Kenobi is because she knows that Obi-Wan trained Anakin and blames her for Anakin's turn to the dark side and killing all of her youngling friends. And because of that, she now wants revenge on the both of them. And oh wow, that's exactly what happened. And you pretty much have that figured out by episode 3, if not before that. And then in the last half of the series, she just goes off the rails to the point where she's about to torture 10-year-old Liea and is just bullying this little girl. Like, even Tarkin and Vader weren't that aggressive to Liea in A New Hope, and she was fully grown. And in the finale, it just jumps to her finding out about Luke and then goes there to kill him? What? But why? Why is she going there? Didn't she want to use him as bait for Kenobi or Vader or something? It just doesn't make sense how she jumps to wanting to kill a child. And by the end of this little character arc, we have a shocking scene where she doesn't kill Luke Skywalker. Wow, I was really worried. I thought she was going to kill him. It's just so on the nose and comes across extremely corny, and this entire sequence just has no tension. We know none of these characters are going to die, so what's the point? This show doesn't even really matter because we know what happens to all of these characters. And that's pretty much where I stand on Kenobi. Ewan McGregor carries the show, little Liea was much better than I expected, and it's with these two we get the most character development. The rest is just pointless filler with no tension. Like, I forgot to even mention the fake Grand Inquisitor death. They just try so hard to make you invested, but they can't do it in a new or unique way. And you can't really get invested with these characters because their stories are beginning and ending in other shows, other movies that are done better there. Oh yeah, and I should also probably mention the flashback scene with Anakin and Obi-Wan, or I'll get roasted in the comments. That was a pretty cool scene, and definitely probably the best episode. Also, another controversial thought, the Darth Vader vs. Obi-Wan duel is just a knockoff of Vader vs. Ahsoka in Rebels, and like I said, they did it way better there. But it was still pretty cool hearing Hayden Christensen's voice matched along with Darth Vader's. That was a pretty cool scene. But overall, just like I said multiple times in this video, pretty unnecessary. And lastly, I also want to add that this show is so ugly and so dark, I could barely tell what was happening for half of the show. Like, I get it's a TV series, but really, we're really gonna start cutting the budget on the freaking Obi-Wan Kenobi show? Like, you can't afford a decent backdrop or a couple of lights? We know these Disney Plus shows can look good, so why can I not see the screen? Why can I not see what's happening? There are multiple scenes and episodes that honestly just start to look like a fan film, which was very disappointing. But I suppose that's enough ranting. Those are my really scatterbrained thoughts on the Kenobi series. If I had to rate it on a scale of 1 to 10, I'd probably just give it a 5, right in the middle. But let me know down below what you guys think of the series, and feel free to roast me for not liking it. And if you enjoyed the video, please leave a like and subscribe to the channel for more Star Wars content just like this. So thank you so much for watching, and take care of yourselves.